Hello everyone. So today I am going to talk about how you can use AI in your pen testing or in your regular testing that you have been doing for learning, right? So this I will be showing with the home lab, but as you can understand, if you are doing it for your personal growth or if you are doing it for your learning purposes, you can always use this even in your other phases of life. You can use the same principles. Now, I will be using the tool called as SAP ZPT. I have created some videos on this some time back. You can have a look at it. But it's a CLI tool which basically gives you access to multiple providers, and you can use any of the providers to get a response from any of the LLM models supported by those providers. Currently, I have been using it with GitHub, with OpenRouter, and with OpenAI, these three providers. And since they provide different models and different context lengths for these models, you can choose the provider and the model based on your requirements. But today, I am not specifically going to talk about ZapGPT as a whole or its architecture or anything about or things like that. Rather, we are going to talk about how to use it for your pen testing requirements. So as I mentioned, ZapGPT supports prompts that you can create on your own, and you don't have to necessarily rely on the ones that is provided by ZapGPT, which comes in example underscore prompts. And I have just renamed that folder as prompts. So you can see that if I go to prompts here, there are multiple prompts which are already provided. And the one that we are going to use today is Kali hacking. Since the name is quite long, I am just going to move it to kali.json. And if I see kali.json and pipe it to gq dot, gq is not installed, but that's fine. It is very small file, so we can just do a cat kali.json. And you can see that there are three elements in this JSON. One is the model name. This is the model that will be used. The system prompt, this is the system prompt that will be provided. This is the assistance input that will be provided. Now, the system prompt here is in all single line because this is a JSON, but if you want to read it in a nice format, you can just say printf and then put it in double quotes here, and you will be able to read this much better. As you can see, this is saying that you are a command line expert specializing exclusively in Kali Linux hacking and penetration testing. And then it says a few things, but the most important things that it does is use variables in all following commands, and do not output any commands that are not available on Kali Linux. Output plain terminal command only, no markdown, no code blocks, no extra symbols. Okay, so what this prompt will allow us to do is basically just get the command that we want to execute, and there will be no prelude or post text after the command itself. So you are able to just copy paste the uh, command that you want to run. Now that being said, as I said, I have created a alias for this, and which just does a source for my VANV, and then it runs zapgpt.py. So if I just do gpt minus h, it should show me the help, right? Now what we want to do is just to be sure we can list the prompts. So if I do minus minus list prompt or LSP, I can list the prompt. I'll just do minus LSP. And here you can see these are all the JSON files that we had seen in the prompts folder. And since we renamed Kali hacking to Kali, it shows up as Kali here. Now, this also means that if you want to create a new prompt, you can just add a new file there, and it will create a new prompt file for you. For example, if I want to create a new prompt, I will have to say use prompt. Minus UP is for use prompt, right? And I will say I want to use prompting prompt, and I will say create prompt which when I give the man page will summarize it. Okay. This is my so this is a prompt that I want to create, for example, where I will give a man page and I would like the uh, LLM to summarize it for me. Now, sometimes you will see that you will get issues like this, where it will say that it doesn't know GPT-4 Turbo, and that is because I am using GitHub, and if I do list models with minus LM, this model is not available in GitHub, right? GitHub has few OpenAI models. For example, OpenAI O1, O3. I guess I can mention O3 here. Let me do that. That doesn't really matter. So, ZAP ZPT, prompts, and then Kali. So, I will change this to O3. Or I can use another provider, right? Before I change this, let me do that. So, if I run the same command and I just say provider open router, which will definitely have this LLM, we will see that it will give us a response. So we are just waiting for a few seconds. It should not take a lot of time, probably 5 seconds, 7 seconds to generate this prompt. But as you can see, it has generated a prompt, and this is in the format which is required by ZAP ZPT. So you can just copy paste this, or you can also use the minus H. If I do, you can see that minus O will put it in output file. And when you write it into output file, only the data between your usage and response goes into the output file. All this other output that you see on the screen will then go to output file. So it will create a valid JSON file, which you can directly use as a prompt. But as I was saying, if you don't want to use that, you can actually just change it as O3 here. And I can run it without provider now because GitHub has a model which is called as OpenAI slash O3, right? We just saw that with minus LM, GitHub O3, OpenAI O3 is there. So now using this, it will generate the prompt. The prompts might differ a little bit. It is using GPT. I changed the wrong file. I changed Kali. I should be changing prompt. It should be 3, and once we have changed it, we can run it again. And this time it should work and give us a response. Bad response. OpenAI O3. Okay, probably it says custom, so probably I am in free tier of GitHub for developers. Probably it doesn't have that support. I will try with GPT-4o. Let's try again. And this should definitely work. Again, it depends on which provider you are using and which model you are using, and it might take a certain amount of time. So as you can see, now you have generated a different prompt, and it is generated using the GPT-4o prompt that we mentioned. So enough of this. Now, the whole point of all this explanation was that if you want to create a new prompt, you should be able to create a prompt very easily. And now you can just copy paste this into your prompts folder and use this going forward to basically generate a summarized page of any main page, right? If you wanted to. But now, as I was saying, if you are doing a pen testing and you are just starting to learn and you do not know the commands on how to start a pen testing. For example, I will just look at the IP address of this machine, and this is 75.133. Sorry, let me just change the IP address interface for this. This is on the wrong interface. So I will just change the interface for this and then we can look at this. No, actually we cannot. If we change the interface, then it will not be able to interact with the uh, internet that we have. So I'll have to keep this on this. So I'll not be able to show you the output of the commands uh, that that ZPT will give me. But I can still show you how to run the commands, right? So what we will do is we will say GPT minus use prompt Kali. This is the prompt that we just created, and I will say I have a Windows machine that I would like to pen test. How should I start? And IP of Windows machine is, and I will give the IP, right? So whatever IP it is, 192.168.235.10. Okay. Now, when I give this, remember that in Kali prompt we have said that do not give me any explanation, only give me the commands that I want, right? And in Kali we have changed the model. So let me reset the model. I'll just go to SAP ZPT and jet prompts Kali. Again, I will say GPT 4.1. This should be fine, I guess. We can list the model and see if it is there. Yeah, OpenAI GPT 4.1 should be there here, but we will just confirm. Yeah, it is there. So we can use this prompt, and I will run the command again. Now, when I run this command, the prompt says that I do not want to see anything else other than the commands, and hence I should only see the commands in the response. So as you can see, it gives me the again, remember in prompt we have said that whatever values you want to use, do not use them directly. Instead, assign it to a variable and use it in use it from variable. So that's what it has done. The IP that I had given here, 235.10, is assigned to a target IP, and that target IP is used in the nmap command that is being used here. Okay. Now, I could actually make it more interesting if I knew that, okay, this was a DC, right? So, I can say that I ran nmap and this is a DC. Okay, so when I give this, then the model has much more information on uh, what I have been doing, and it will give me much more info, much more commands, right? So now it knows that it is a DC, so it has given me a nmap command, then enum for Linux, grapmap exec, SMB client, nbt scan, ldep search, and curve root. All these commands I can run. Now the other thing that I can do is basically when I'm running this nmap commands, Actually, I can mention that here, right? Uh, I would like to output the output of the tools to go into files so I can use them in next prompt. Again, some of these things, if they are common, you can actually add them in the prompt itself, and so that you don't have to specify them here. But since I don't have anything specific that I want to add in prompt, I am using it here, right? But now, since I have mentioned that I would like the output of the tools to go into files, you can see that in all of the commands, it has added the appropriate arguments to ensure that the outputs will go into file. So nmap output is going into nmap initial, and then enum for Linux output is going into enum Linux, and so on and so forth, right? I can just copy paste these commands and run these commands. Now, what I can do as a next step is once I have executed these commands, I can basically come back here at the beginning and say -f, which allows me to attach a file, and then I can just copy paste this and then say at the end that this is nmap output, right? And when I do this, actually it will be able to figure out that this is a nmap output, and based on the output that you see, actually I can try to see if this is reachable or not. I am pretty sure that it will not be reachable, but looks like it might be reachable. If it is reachable, then I will be able to show this to you. Let me see. I can do a ping and verify. 10. No, it is not. It's not reachable. So, but it should not take more than a couple of seconds. So we can probably wait for the response to come back, and once the response is back, we should be able to see whether the machine is reachable or not. If the machine is reachable, I can show you the next steps. But otherwise, as I mentioned, now you can use the output file. It is reachable. That is interesting. So now I have this, which is same as the output that we have seen above, right? But it will show something like this. Doesn't matter. We can still go back to here and actually run the same command, because now this file will exist. This is the same file that we were looking at just now. And now, since we have given this file also as output, you can see that it will only talk about the things that it has seen in the nmap. If some of these were not open, if these were closed, it would not have given me the commands that I need here. Similarly, if you want explanation for each of the commands, you can put it in your prompt and say that I want explanation for these commands. Or even the other thing that you can do is, and which I like very much is, for example, let's say that I have this kali.json and I am not happy with this, right? So I can just say gpt minus up prompting -f, and I will use kali.json, and I will say I want to enhance this prompt. Can you suggest improvement? Right, and now I don't have to worry about uh, how to improve this prompt. The artificial intelligence LLM that I have specified in prompting will take care of improving this, and it will give me a new prompt that I can again use. It again depends on which LLM you are using, and sometimes it also depends on providers. For example, I have seen that I have a GitHub developer API, which is basically a free API. So the context length in that is much lesser than when I use the same LLM from OpenRouter or OpenAI, right? If I am using a OpenAI LLM. So it also depends on providers, but generally for something basic like if you are summarizing a file or something, you don't really need to worry about the LLM so much, and you can use any LLM. Uh, if you have open router, uh, then it is basically providing you with open router. It has a lot of models, and you can use any of those models from open router, right? So you don't have to go and pay to different guys. That is handled by open router, and you just use the open router uh, gateway to access those LLMs. In fact, you can also see the pricing here, and there are a lot of free models that you might want to use. And specifically, the open router I like because when you look at the open router models, you can see that the API actually gives you the context length that you can use and the modalities that you can use. So, for example, if you are talking about Moonshot Kimi K2 API, it gives you a context length of 131K. Whereas if you talk about Mistral, Devstral Medium, it is 131K. All right. So you can see that Morph has a very small context length of 130. Whereas if I wanted a very huge context length, probably I can even go to Cypher Alpha from Open Router, or even one of these Minimax or Google Gemini 2.5 flashlight, which has a huge context length of 1 million around, right? Or even I can go for something like which has 200K, 250K kind of a context length like this. Or if I have a something very small that I want to do, then I can go for mini or nano prompts. And if I am really concerned about the cost, for example, these are basically just 8K context length. So these would be probably useful for some very small things, kind of a thing, right? Uh, and if you are concerned about the cost, then you can list it based on price minus LPs for price. GitHub, you will not see that because everything is free, so it doesn't have a cost associated with it. But OpenAI doesn't have a API which will show you the cost, so it is hard coded into the script. But you can always update it based on the OpenAI pricing page. Open router, this is not hard coded because OpenAI has a API which allows me to expose the prices directly. So whatever you are seeing here is directly from open router, and these ideally should be correct up to the point when you run the command. But as you can see, as I was mentioning, OpenRouter has a lot of free LLMs that you can use. For example, Quen and so on and so forth. Most of these always will have colon free in the end that will indicate to you that this is a free LLM that you can use for free. And then there are few others which are very cheap to use, right? So you can try those and see the output that you get from various other LLMs and which ones you like, and then you can use it accordingly and just change it in your prompt file to use the right model. Okay, so that's all I wanted to talk to you about today. Thank you.